O beloved child of mine, there are moments in human history when the heavens themselves tremble, and the earth seems no longer as it once was. These are not changes born from politics, science, or the disturbances initiated by humankind, but eternal moments that intervene in the flow of time. And today, you are standing at such a crossroads. This morning is not merely another day, it carries the imprint of divine orchestration. There are forces at work in the unseen realms, movements that cannot be measured by the human eye. Yet their weight reaches deep into your soul, like a distant drumbeat growing steadily closer. It signals an approaching host, and your spirit is feeling those unusual vibrations. You may have asked yourself, why does my heart feel uneasy? Why do I sense an invisible pressure? Why do even my dreams carry such strange echoes, my child? These are not mere imaginations. That is the echo of heaven calling your name. In the scriptures, when the prophet Isaiah stood in the temple, he saw the heavenly hosts exclaim, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory." Isaiah 6:3. Their voices shook the foundations. The presence of God never comes in indifference. It always leaves a mark, always stirs the hearts of men, always brings profound upheaval. O child, the sensations you are experiencing these days are of the same nature. They are not caused by work pressures, by the whispers of those around you, nor merely by physical fatigue. It is the bell from heaven signaling that your new season is beginning. You have prayed many times, waited many times, and perhaps thought your cries fell into emptiness. Yet no prayer is forgotten. No tear is overlooked. All are inscribed in the seat of glory. And now, it is heaven's turn to respond, not in a whisper, but with an entire host of angels. You may think yourself small, unworthy, incapable of being the focus of heaven's attention. You may have repeatedly asked, could it really be that I, a being so limited, am chosen among millions, among billions? But recall Joseph, a young man sold into slavery by his brothers, seemingly abandoned in a foreign land. Yet he became the instrument to save an entire nation from famine. Genesis 41. Joseph never realized that his youthful dreams were prophetic of a great mission. Likewise, the dreams, the longings, and the aspirations you thought had died are not lost. In heaven, no dream is ever buried forever. The appointed time has arrived, and the urgency you feel within your spirit is merely the warning that the appointed hour has come. You may feel surrounded by contradictory voices. The world may sow doubt in your heart. How could God care for you? How could angels be sent just for you? But, child, spiritual truth is never measured by worldly standards. When Moses fled into the wilderness, merely a nameless shepherd, who could have believed he would be chosen to lead millions out of Egyptian bondage, yet, at the burning bush, Jehovah called him by name Moses. Moses, Exodus 3:4. So too, I call your name today. I do not call because you are perfect, but because you are willing. I do not call because you are strong, but because in your weakness, my power will be revealed. The trembling you feel is proof that heaven has laid its hand upon you. From the beginning, your destiny was written in the scroll of eternity. Before you were even formed in the womb, I knew you and set your path. Jeremiah 1:5. Though enemies may seek to destroy, though the world may attempt to conceal, though circumstances may try to bury, the manuscript remains intact. And now, it is being unfolded. What you are experiencing is not random chaos, but a preparation to bring you to the position I have chosen. Some doors have closed. Some relationships have broken. Some dreams have shattered. And you may have thought all was lost. But in truth, it is the clearing of the way. Just as a seed must decay before it sprouts, you are entering a phase of sacred rebirth. The signals you feel are confirmation that the winter has passed and the divine spring has begun. Now is the time for heightened awareness. This is when you must set aside all the noise around you to clearly hear heaven's voice. Remember, not a word from me falls to the earth without fulfillment. Isaiah 5:5-11. If I have spoken, it will come to pass. If I have promised, nothing can hinder it. Therefore, open your heart, prepare yourself, and be ready, for divine intervention is no longer distant. It is approaching, and you are the one chosen to step into it. O child, when the heavens prepare for a monumental change, the first sign is not always radiant light or an open door. Often, it begins with tremors, with losses that seem meaningless, or with incomprehensible betrayals. You may have asked, why is everything suddenly upheaved? Why do those once close become distant? Why do plans once certain collapse in an instant? My child, this is not failure. It is realignment. Before a new house can be built, the old foundation must be removed. Before a heavenly door can open, false doors must close. What you are witnessing is not an ending, but preparation. I have allowed certain things to fall away, not to punish you, but to release you from burdens you dared not let go of. Recall the children of Israel, standing by the Red Sea, with Pharaoh's formidable army behind them and the deep waters before them. Exodus 14. To human eyes, it was a dead end, but in God's plan, it was a doorway. The sea parted, a dry path appeared, and the people were delivered. You see, moments that appear hopeless are often where the greatest power is revealed. Without Pharaoh pursuing, the Red Sea would not have split. Without darkness, the light could not shine. Similarly, if not for the days you have endured, you would not perceive the larger tapestry I am weaving. The tears, the sleepless nights, the shocks that seemed meaningless are, in truth, necessary pieces for this moment. You have prayed for a breakthrough, yet you longed for it to come without any change. But how can a breakthrough occur if everything remains the same? How can a new season begin if you cling to the old? Therefore, I have allowed certain things to shake, so that you may realize they were never the true foundation. I have allowed some relationships to collapse, so that you may understand that not everyone is meant to walk with you to the end of the journey. I have permitted certain dreams to fall apart, so that you can learn to discern between your own desires and the divine plan. And now, when you look back, you will see a red thread running through it all. What appeared as loss was, in truth, refinement. It is this refinement that will make you stand firm in the glory that is to come. In Peter's letter, it is written that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than gold that perishes, though it is tested by fire, may be found unto praise, honor, and glory at the appearing of Jesus Christ. 1 Peter 1:7. My child, your faith has passed through fire, and the fire does not come to consume, but to remove the dross. Each time you feel as if you are burning in suffering, It is, in fact, the moment when what does not belong to your destiny is being purged. What remains is the pure, steadfast, and strong essence that I intend to reveal. Therefore, do not fear when the fire comes. Do not be dismayed when trials surround you. Consider them confirmation that you are being prepared for something greater. There are those around you who do not understand this. They see the shaking and assume you are falling. They witness your silence and believe you are abandoned. They see your tears and conclude that you have failed. But they do not realize that in those tears, the seeds of a new harvest are being sown. They do not understand that my silence is not absence, but a space for your soul to mature. Like a father standing at a distance watching his child take their first steps, I allow you to walk on your own so that when you stumble, I am ready to lift you. It is in these seemingly lonely days that you learn to cling to me more than ever. And this clinging will become the solid foundation for your next steps. You may not realize it, but every resistance you face is evidence that you carry something precious. The enemy never wastes effort attacking someone of no value. They only target those who bear a great seed within them. Recall David, a mere shepherd boy. Yet Goliath challenged him before all the people, 1 Samuel 17. If David were just an unknown, no one would have cared. But because his destiny was to become king, the battle was necessary. Likewise, the obstacles surrounding you are signs that your destiny is so significant that darkness itself must tremble. Every lie, every betrayal, every curse you face only confirms your sacred worth. So lift your head. Do not let resistance make you falter. Do not let darkness make you forget that the light is already destined. Your appointed time is no longer distant. What you are experiencing is merely the opening drumbeat. The main symphony lies ahead, and when it plays, all will know that it is not by your own strength, but by the hand of the Almighty. You have passed through the season of loss. Now, you are entering the season of transition. Soon, you will see clearly why everything had to unfold in this way. My child, when you begin to notice unusual signs around you, understand that these are not random events, moments that seem meaningless, an unexpected phone call, a dream that wakes you in sweat, a passing word from a stranger. All of these may be signs from heaven. You once thought that, to hear God's voice, you would need dramatic supernatural manifestations, like fire blazing from a bush or thunder echoing on Mount Sinai. But my child, the Creator speaks not only in grandeur, He also speaks in the gentle whisper, 1 Kings 1:9-1-2. As Elijah experienced, the subtlety of heaven is not meant to deceive, but to test who truly has ears to listen. And today, it is precisely the small, easily overlooked details that serve as the channel through which heaven conveys its message to you. I know there are days when you feel lost in the crowd, as if you are a tiny fragment amid an endless sea of people. You may think that your voice has no weight, that your prayers cannot reach the throne of glory, but you are mistaken. Your name is inscribed, not only on earth but in the heavens. You are known in the secret places where eternal decisions are made. My child, when you kneel in darkness, even unseen, heaven records it. When you persist in doing what is right under immense pressure, the angels incline their ears to hear. When you choose forgiveness over resentment, the unseen host rejoices. Therefore, do not think yourself unknown. Do not imagine you are forsaken. You are living proof that light still exists in this dark world. And for that reason, heaven can no longer remain silent. Look to the story of Job. He was righteous, yet endured the utmost losses, possessions destroyed, family shattered, body afflicted. People assumed this was evidence that God had turned his back. In truth, it was proof that Job was trusted to become a witness for an entire era. His faithfulness opened a new chapter in history, and ultimately, had he received back double for all he had lost. Job 4:2-1-0. Likewise, the trials you endure are not because I have forgotten you, but because I trust you. I know you can stand. I know your faith will become a living testimony, so that when deliverance comes, all will see unmistakably that it is my hand at work. Prepare your heart, for this moment is unlike any other day. There are seasons for waiting, but there are also seasons for stepping forward. This is the time to move. This is not merely encouragement to soothe you, but a proclamation heaven has commanded, and the heavenly hosts are executing. No power can delay what has been decreed. No enemy can prevent what I have spoken. Open your eyes, for in the hours ahead, you will see clear signs. They may not come in the way you expect, but they will arrive with undeniable certainty. You have feared that you are too weak to receive blessings. You have thought that the wounds of the past make you unworthy. But remember, grace does not come because of merit, but because of God's choice. He chooses whom he wills, and once chosen, no one can overturn it. As Paul wrote, God has chosen the foolish things of the world to shame the wise, and God has chosen the weak things of the world to shame the strong one. Corinthians 1:2-7. It is precisely in your weakness that his power will be revealed. It is through your wounds that the door to healing will open, and what others mock in you will become evidence that divine favor cannot be hindered. Awaken, my child. This is not a time for hesitation or doubt. This is a time to open your heart, to receive, to trust. When the call from heaven has sounded, your response is your responsibility. Just as Abraham left his homeland in obedience to the voice of the Lord, not knowing where he would go, Genesis 1:2-1, you too are called to walk in absolute trust. And as you step forward, you will see that each step has already been prepared. This is the moment when destiny and obedience meet. This is the moment when heaven and earth touch within your life story. Therefore, be ready. Prepare your home, your soul, and your mind. Guard your words, for not everyone is worthy to hear what is coming. Be cautious with whom you allow into your inner circle. And above all, let your faith remain unshaken. The intervention approaching is not merely to encourage, but to transform. It will not touch only a corner. It will overturn the skies around you. And when it happens, you will know for certain that it is not by your strength, not by luck, but by the hand of the Creator. When a new journey begins, the first sensation is often trembling, not because of lack of faith, but because the responsibility placed upon you seems far greater than what you perceive in yourself. You may look at yourself and ask, how can I bear this? Am I strong enough to reach the end? My child, that trembling is a sign that you are stepping out of your comfort zone. And it is precisely there that grace begins. You were not made to face the storms alone. From the beginning, I promised I will never leave you nor forsake you. Hebrews 1:3-5. Therefore, do not think that you must walk alone. The one who calls you is also the one walking with you every step. That companionship is the guarantee of your success. Remember Joshua when he succeeded Moses to lead the Israelites into the Promised Land. He was young, inexperienced, and faced a vast nation with countless enemies ahead. In human eyes, he must have felt powerless. Yet God spoke to him, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or dismayed. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." Joshua 1:9. That promise became his strength, enabling Joshua to advance and cause the walls of Jericho to fall with the shout of the people. My child, likewise, that promise remains intact for you today. I do not call you to abandon you, nor do I give responsibility and stand by idly. I call, and I walk with you. I send, and I empower. That is what makes the difference. You have experienced many moments when you felt left behind, as if no one truly understood or accompanied you. But you did not realize that in those solitary moments, heaven was closest to you. There are battles you believe you must fight alone. Yet behind the unseen veil, the army of angels is already arrayed. My child, consider Elisha and his servant when they were surrounded by the Aramean army in the city. 2 Kings 6:1-5-17. The servant trembled, seeing the enemy as countless. But Elisha prayed that his eyes be opened. And when they were, he saw the mountain filled with horses and chariots of fire surrounding them. My child, that is the spiritual reality around you. Though unseen by the eye, protection is already in place. No power can touch you outside of my permission. The companionship I provide is not theoretical. It is practical strength, operating in every moment. When you are weak, I am strength. When you are anxious, I am wisdom. When you are in pain, I am comfort. And when you feel utterly drained, I am a never-ending spring of living water. You once thought that divine presence belonged only in holy places or solemn prayer. But remember that the Savior sat with tax collectors, touched the sick, and walked among the people. That presence is not distant. It is close. It is with you, and it permeates every detail of everyday life. So cast away the thought that you are alone. Loneliness is but an illusion planted by the enemy to discourage you. But the spiritual reality is entirely different. A hand holds yours tightly. A voice whispers within whenever you pray. A peace that the world cannot give or take away envelops you. That is the divine companionship you must recognize and cling to. Do not seek strength in human eyes, for they are fleeting. Seek it in me, for my presence is eternal. And once you are aware that I walk with you, all fear, all doubt, all darkness will become meaningless. My child, the presence of heaven is not only to comfort but to empower. When I walk with you, it is not merely to soothe your fears, but to make you an instrument of glory. There is a vast difference between walking by your own strength and walking in God's companionship. When you rely on yourself, you will soon reach limits, but when you rely on me, those limits are broken, and you are lifted by power from above. This has been proven through countless witnesses in the history of faith. Consider David when he was a young boy. He had no battle experience, no sophisticated weapons, only a sling and a few stones. Yet when facing Goliath, the giant who terrified the nation, he declared, "You come to me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts." 1 Samuel 1:7-4-5. It was the divine companionship that transformed a small boy into a victorious warrior. My child, you may feel lacking in resources. You may think you are unqualified to face the challenges ahead. But when I am with you, the only thing you need is faith. For faith does not rely on human strength, but on the power of the eternal. When I accompany you, all limits are broken, and miracles are revealed. Recall when Peter and the disciples rowed on the sea, and the storm rose, causing despair. Yet in that moment, Jesus walked on the water toward them. Matthew 1:4-5:27. Do you see? My child, divine presence is not constrained by physical laws or storms. Rather, it commands the wind and waves. And when Peter dared to step out of the boat, he walked on water, though he faltered and began to sink. The hand of God was there to lift him. This story is not just a tale, but a lesson. When you are conscious of my presence, you can do what seems impossible, and even in your weakness, I am there to raise you up. For too long, you have only looked at the visible reality. Forgetting the far stronger spiritual reality, you have feared closed doors, rejection, and scornful eyes. But remember, if I have opened a door, no one can shut it. Revelation 3:8. If I have spoken, the word will surely come to pass. My companionship is not like human companionship. People may promise today and change tomorrow. They may support you in success but abandon you in failure. I am different. My promises never change. My companionship is not based on emotion, but on an eternal covenant. There have been times when you prayed and felt as though you were speaking alone. You thought I was silent. But in truth, that silence was my way of preparing. Remember the story of Lazarus. When he was sick, Mary and Martha sent word to Jesus. Yet he delayed, and Lazarus died. In the eyes of the world, it seemed like failure, a silence from heaven. But in reality, it was arranged so that a greater miracle could be revealed. For Jesus declared, "This sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God." John 1:1-4. And in the end, Lazarus was called out of the tomb, a testament that my companionship transcends even death. My child, if you feel that I delay, trust that such delay is not abandonment, but a prelude to revealing greater glory. My companionship has a deeper purpose to show you that you are not living only for yourself. When I lift you, it is not merely for your blessing, but for you to become a testimony to many others. When you are rescued, others will see and believe. When you are healed, those in despair will be encouraged. When you stand firm amid storms, the community will recognize that a supernatural power is at work. As Paul and Silas sang praises in prison, an earthquake immediately shook the foundations, loosening the chains and opening the prison doors. Not only were they freed, but so was the jailer and his household. Acts 1:6-5-34. My child, my companionship always has a ripple effect. It is not only a blessing for the individual, but a miracle for the entire community. Therefore, let my companionship become your compass, your sustaining strength, and your guiding light. Do not merely ask me to be with you. Walk with the certainty that I am already by your side. When you grasp this truth, all anxiety will dissipate, all limits will be broken, and every challenge will become a launching pad. You will see clearly that spiritual companionship is not a vague idea. but a living reality, actively at work in your life today. My child, divine companionship is not only for great moments, but for every small moment in daily life. How often have you thought that mundane details are too insignificant for heaven's concern, you might say? The Creator surely only attends to great matters. He does not notice my little affairs. But, my child, it is precisely in these seemingly trivial matters that I show deep care. Remember, Jesus said that even the hairs on your head are numbered. Matthew 10:30. If every strand of hair is accounted for, how could your tears be overlooked? This shows that my companionship is not limited to temples or prayer hours. It is present in every breath, every step, every glance in your busy life. Consider the story of Elijah in the wilderness. After triumphing on Mount Carmel, he fell into fear and exhaustion, fleeing into desolation. There, he longed for death, believing he had no worth. But I sent an angel, not to hand him a sword or a mighty miracle, but to provide a baked cake and a jar of water. 1 Kings 19:5-8. You see, divine companionship is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is simply the provision to help you continue. Without that small gift, Elijah would have fallen. But through that care, he had the strength to journey 40 days to the mountain of the Lord. My child, in your own life, my companionship can come through an unexpected friend, a timely word of encouragement, an opportunity that seems coincidental, yet nothing is random. These are traces of my hand, still with you, guiding, sustaining, and protecting every day. There are times when you call for immediate rescue, yet instead of removing the trial, I grant you endurance. This does not mean I am silent or have abandoned you, but because I know your soul needs refinement to become strong. As Paul experienced when he prayed for the removal of a thorn in the flesh, I said to him, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." 2 Corinthians 1:2-9. My child, spiritual companionship is not only to remove burdens, but to transform them into opportunities for grace to manifest. When you think you can bear no more, that is when I carry you in my arms. When you feel utterly exhausted, that is when you are being upheld by a power beyond your own. Divine companionship carries another attribute. It makes you a living witness. Others may not read the scriptures, but they will read your life. When they see you standing firm amidst adversity, they will ask, "What keeps that person from falling? Who gives them strength?" And in that question, a spark is planted in their hearts. Remember, Jesus said, "Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." Matthew 5:1-6. My companionship with you is not only to lift you, but through you, many others are illuminated. Your life becomes a lamp on a stand, shining into the darkness of the world. Do not think that this companionship is merely a vague feeling. It leaves tangible marks in every sphere of life. It manifests as peace, surpassing all understanding. Even amid chaos, it opens doors at the right time. Even when all seemed closed, it brings healing, not only to the body, but to deep spiritual wounds. And above all, it can transform the atmosphere of your family, work, and community. Wherever I am present, renewal occurs. My child, all you need to do is keep your heart attuned. Do not let the noise of the world drown out the gentle whisper. Do not let fear obscure the subtle signs from heaven. Stop. Listen. And you will realize that I have never left. I am present in your triumphs, but also in your ordinary moments. Awareness of this will open within you a new life, one unshaken by circumstances, sustained by the certainty that heaven walks alongside you. Therefore, remember that every step you take bears the mark of eternity. Let that faith lift your head, keep your heart at peace, and give you courage to move forward. For my companionship is not only a promise, but a reality operating now. As you live in this reality, you will be prepared for the deeper revelations that await in the next part of the journey. My child, divine companionship is not only to show that you are protected, but to transform you from within. If in the previous passage I helped you understand that you are never alone, now I want you to know that my presence will change you at your core. You may have thought that great transformation must come from dramatic events, evident miracles, or extraordinary moments. Yet the most lasting change occurs quietly within. It begins when you see the world with different eyes, when you choose how to respond to adversity, in the silent decisions known only to me and you. My child, when the soul begins to recognize the presence of the Creator, old habits are gradually replaced with new desires. You will no longer be easily swept away by anger, resentment, or bitterness. Instead, a fresh stream begins to flow, stirring within you a longing for forgiveness, kindness, and mercy. This fulfills the prophecy of Ezekiel. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. I will remove the heart of stone from your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. Ezekiel 3:6-2:6. My child, the heart of stone symbolizes hardness, resistance to grace. But when I touch it, it becomes tender, responsive to love, moved by injustice, and rejoicing at goodness. Consider Paul's story, once a persecutor of believers, his heart full of hatred and pride. He encountered the risen one on the road to Damascus. His physical sight was taken, yet his spiritual eyes were opened from an enemy of faith. He became an apostle, proclaiming love, Acts 9. This demonstrates that true transformation does not come from human effort, but from divine intervention. My child, so it is with you. You may have lived in old patterns, haunted by the past, imprisoned by wounds, unseen by others. But when my presence enters, it does not merely overlay a new layer, it renews from the core. It transforms not only outward behavior, but your heart, will, and mind. This transformation does not happen in a single day, but unfolds as a journey. There will be moments when you are challenged to let go of the familiar. Forgiveness may cause discomfort. Patience may exhaust you. Humility may feel like loss. Yet in each choice, your soul is being molded into the image of the Creator, like the potter shaping clay on the wheel, pressing, molding, then placing it in the fire to form a precious vessel. Jeremiah 1:8-6. You are the clay in my hands. The pressures you endure are not to destroy, but to shape. Every tear, every waiting, every act of surrender is a step toward becoming the version I have intended. My child, this inner transformation is also reflected in how you view others. Previously, you were quick to judge, easily hurt by careless words, or shaken when others turned away. But when you are renewed, you begin to see them through eyes of compassion. You realize that betrayal does not define your worth, it only exposes weakness in them. You understand that envy does not diminish your value, it merely proves that the light within you is so strong that darkness feels discomfort. And in that awareness, you are set free. Free from the need to prove yourself. Free from the pressure to be recognized. Free from the burden of trying to please everyone. You begin to live with a certainty that comes from above, not from the fleeting gaze of the world. My child, this is a pivotal turning point in your journey. Divine companionship does not only protect you from external enemies, but also frees you from the chains within. That is the greatest victory. For a renewed soul is no longer bound by the past, no longer dominated by fear, and no longer defined by human judgment. In that state, you can stand tall not out of pride, but because you know you are loved and chosen. This is a heritage that only those who truly walk in the divine presence can understand. One of the clearest signs of spiritual transformation is the change in your will and mind. Previously, you were easily swayed by fleeting desires, easily shaken by pressure, easily faltering when facing trials. But when light from heaven touches you, a new strength begins to rise. You are no longer controlled by fear or doubt, but start making decisions grounded in faith-based certainty. A renewed will is like the rudder of a ship when weak. The vessel is tossed by waves. When strengthened, it remains steady amidst the storms. Remember Daniel, a young man exiled in a foreign land, placed in an unfamiliar environment full of temptation. The scriptures record, Daniel resolved in his heart that he would not defile himself with the king's delicacies or the wine he drank. Daniel 1:8. That inner resolve became the foundation for all the wonders in his life, interpreting dreams, surviving the lion's den, and becoming an influential figure across multiple reigns. My child, a steadfast decision within the heart can unlock an entire destiny. And my presence is the fire that illuminates that decision, helping you stand firm when the world seeks to pull you down. Your mind, too, is transformed. Once it was distracted by the noise of the world, a single criticism haunted you for days, a rumor swayed your emotions. But when renewed, you learn to discern between the voice of heaven and illusions from the darkness. Paul advised the believers, do not conform to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that you may discern what is the will of God, what is good, acceptable, and perfect. Romans 1:2-2. My child, this is the key. The renewal of the mind is not merely for positive thinking, but to enable you to see what eyes cannot see, hear what ears cannot hear, and distinguish my path amid countless ways. Beloved child, when the will is shaped and the mind illuminated, you will discover a strange power in your choices. You no longer choose for convenience, but for what is right. You no longer chase what pleases others, but walk in what delights me. This is a difficult process, for it demands letting go of many old habits. Yet in that letting go, you gain freedom. You will realize that nothing can bind a soul determined to walk in the light. Recall Joshua and Caleb when they, along with 10 others, spied on the promised land. While the 10 quaked at the sight of the giants, Joshua and Caleb boldly declared, "Let us go up and take the land, for we are well able to overcome it." Numbers 1:3-3-0. The difference lay not in what their eyes saw, But in minds renewed by faith, while others saw defeat, they saw opportunity. While others trembled, they were courageous. And because of that steadfastness, they entered the land where many others perished in the wilderness. My child, this shows that the renewal of will and mind determines the destiny of an entire generation. Do not fear facing temptation. Temptation does not prove weakness. It proves that you carry a treasure worth the enemy's attempt to seize. But when the mind is renewed, you no longer view temptation with fear, but with wisdom and resolve. You will know when to step back from seductive words. Refuse the easy path and choose what is enduring, and I will grant you the strength to do so. As Paul wrote, I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Philippians 4:1-3. My child, steadfastness does not come from your own will alone, but from the divine energy flowing within your heart. When you live with a renewed mind, peace becomes your companion. You will no longer be shaken by bad news, no longer lose sleep in worry, no longer haunted by dark scenarios of the future. Instead, you will know that each day rests within my control. You will experience the promise and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding. It will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:7. That peace is not the absence of storms, but the power to stand firm amid them. Let this transformation become a new breath in your life. Do not merely long for protection from the outside, rejoice in the renewal within. For it is this inner renewal that will sustain you long term. When your will is strengthened, your mind illuminated, and your soul liberated, you will become a living testimony, a lamp in the darkness, and clear evidence that the divine presence can renew an entire life. Inner transformation never stops with yourself alone. When the light ignites within your soul, it inevitably shines outward, illuminating those around you. A renewed soul cannot hoard this new life. Just as a flame cannot cease to give light, this leads to the next movement from inner change. You will notice your relationships gradually transforming, and your influence extending into the community. Previously, you may have viewed others through lenses of doubt, competition, or fear. You were easily hurt by petty words, discouraged by cold attitudes, and quick to judge by appearances. But when renewed, you begin to see them with eyes of compassion. You recognize that those who harm you are themselves wounded. Those who envy you are merely reflecting their own insecurity. And instead of seeking revenge, you choose forgiveness. Instead of closing your heart, you choose love. This is not weakness, but true strength. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting the pain. It means refusing to let the pain control you. Love is not naivety. It is choosing to rise above darkness. Remember Joseph, the son of Jacob. He was hated by his brothers, sold into slavery, and suffered wrongful imprisonment. Yet when he became a ruler in Egypt, he did not seek vengeance. Instead, he embraced his brothers and said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Genesis 5:0-20. My child, this is proof of a soul transformed. The unrenewed allow bitterness to erode them, but the renewed let love prevail. This very choice enabled Joseph to become an instrument that saved an entire nation. You, too, when you choose forgiveness, do not merely free others, you are freed yourself. My child, inner transformation also helps you discern who truly belongs on your journey. When the light within you burns brightly, some will be exposed. Some will rejoice with you, but others may feel threatened by your renewal. They may distance themselves, speak harsh words, or attempt to diminish your value. Do not let this discourage you. Light does not ask permission from darkness to shine, it simply is. And the darkness dissipates. As you walk in renewal, you will see your circle refined. Those who are insincere will gradually depart, while those chosen by me will draw near. This purification is necessary, for not all can accompany you on this new path. Remember Jesus at the start of his ministry. He had thousands following him, yet he chose 12 disciples to be close. And among them, 3 were especially trusted. Even within that inner circle, one would betray him. This teaches you that it is not quantity but selection that matters. You do not need many around you. You need the right ones positioned by your side. And I will arrange it. Do not fear when some depart. Do not grieve when once close relationships fade. This is not loss but preparation for new, healthy, and divinely aligned connections. When your relationships are renewed, your influence will spread. Others will perceive the difference in you. They may not fully understand, but they will sense it, a strange peace, an inexplicable joy, a steadfastness beyond circumstances. All will become living testimony. Often, you will not need lengthy explanations. The way you live will be enough to sow seeds in the hearts of others. Remember, Jesus said, "By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." John 1:3-5. When love flows through your life, it becomes the most powerful proof of spiritual transformation. Let this inner renewal be the foundation for all your relationships. Love without expecting reciprocation. Forgive without requiring an apology. Be patient even when others do not understand. You do not live to be recognized. You live to reflect the light from heaven. As you persist in this way, your influence will extend beyond what the human eye can see. It will touch people you never imagined, even generations yet to come. Remember, Joseph's renewal not only saved his brothers, but shaped the destiny of Israel for centuries. Faithfulness in one person can unlock blessings for countless others. Likewise, your transformation today will leave a lasting mark on the spiritual history of your family and community. Beloved child, as you enter spiritual battle, remember first, you do not fight alone. From the dawn of creation, I have established the principle that heavenly intervention accompanies those who walk in covenant. Protection is not merely a comforting idea, it is a reality surrounding you. Every breath, every step, every moment of rest is covered by my safeguarding. The scriptures say, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." Psalm 9:111. My child, this is not an empty promise, but an executed decree. Reflect upon this. Without divine guardianship, how could you have survived so many trials? There have been times when calamity seemed imminent, yet an invisible power restrained it. There have been moments when fear made you tremble, yet a strange peace enveloped your mind. This is evidence that the heavenly host surrounds you. As Elisha prayed for his servant, "Open his eyes, Lord, so that he may see." 2 Kings 6:1-7. And the servant saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire surrounding Elisha. My child, if your spiritual eyes were opened, you too would perceive this reality around you. Protection is never absent. The ordinary eye simply cannot yet see it. I know that sometimes you feel weary under the barrage of arrows. They may come from betrayal, slander, or relentless opposition. But remember, weapons may be forged, plots may be devised, yet my word still stands. No weapon forged against you will prevail. Isaiah 5:4-17. This means the enemy may plan, but all schemes ultimately crumble. You may witness the storm rising, yet even in the midst of turmoil, a protective hand surrounds you. Therefore, what I desire from you is not fear, but peace grounded in trust. There are times when my protection is not revealed by removing danger, but by granting you the strength to stand firm within it. Look at Daniel's 3 friends. They were not saved from the fire, but they were saved in the fire. Daniel 3:2-5. The flames raged fiercely, yet within the fire there was one, like the Son of God, walking with them. My child, protection is not always about avoidance. Often it is about presence in the midst of trial. I want you to know that even if the gates of hell were to open, my presence is stronger still, and no fire can consume a soul that belongs to me. Remember this, my protection does not only cover the outside, but safeguards the inside as well. The enemy may attempt to harm the body, but cannot touch the sacred identity that has been sealed. When Jesus stood before the court, his body was beaten, yet his mission remained unwavering. Likewise, your body may grow weary, your mind may waver at times, but the destiny inscribed for you remains intact. I am the keeper of your roots, so that though storms shake the branches, the tree of your life stands firm. Some may ask, if God protects, why must I endure a pain, my child? Protection does not mean a life without wounds. The difference is that these wounds do not destroy. They become marks demonstrating that my hand has healed. As Joseph endured the prison, it became the bridge leading him to the throne. As Paul endured chains, they became the means for the gospel to be proclaimed. Likewise, you may bear wounds, yet they will serve as proof that I have sheltered you amid the fire. Take heart, my child. Whenever you feel exhausted, know that angels still stand guard around you. Whenever darkness seems to overwhelm, know that the light is far stronger. Whenever loneliness presses in, remember that in those very moments, divine protection draws closest. Do not be deceived by the eyes of the flesh. Look with the eyes of faith. And when you do, you will clearly see that you have never walked alone, and you shall never walk alone. Remember this unchanging truth in every trial. My protection does not stop at keeping you safe. It also prepares you to enter places of glory. The days you walk through darkness are not the end, but the prelude to a song of victory. The enemy may believe it has triumphed, yet precisely where it rejoices, I will overturn all things to display my power. This is an eternal principle. Trials do not end in tears, but in restoration and glory. Look back through history, and you will see this demonstrated repeatedly. When the Israelites stood before the Red Sea, with a fierce army behind them and vast waters before, men saw only a dead end, but I saw a dry path through the heart of the sea. I did not only protect the people from Pharaoh's hand, but I also swept the army away in the rushing waters. What does this mean? My child, it means that I do not merely drive the enemy away. I completely remove the possibility for them to harm you again. My protection is comprehensive. It not only saves you, but clears the way for you to walk in peace. Consider Joseph, sold into slavery, imprisoned, forgotten. In human eyes, he faced failure after failure. Yet in my eyes, it was the preparation that one day he would become the governor of all Egypt. The wounds that seemed incurable paved the way for him to occupy a position to save nations. As Joseph said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Genesis 5:20. My child, so too, every plot against you will become raw material for miracles. What you endure today forms the foundation for tomorrow's glory. The cross stands as the clearest example. The enemy thought nailing my only son was the end. It did not know that that moment marked the beginning of a new era, the era of grace. From humiliation came glory, from death flowed life. The cross, once an instrument of execution, became the eternal symbol of salvation. My child, likewise, the crosses, you bear the losses, the sufferings, the humiliations will not be an ending. In my hands, they will be transformed into compelling evidence of power and love. I want you to understand that protection is not only the shield that stops arrows, but also the hand that opens the way forward. When I guard you, it is so that you not only survive, but rise stronger, wiser, and more steadfast. Trials do not diminish you, they make you grow. Just as a seed must decay to bloom, you must pass through the fire to reveal your brilliance. This is a divine law without suffering. There is no glory. Look to the rescues recorded in Scripture: Daniel in the lion's den, the 3 Hebrew friends in the blazing furnace. Not only did they survive, but they emerged untouched, without smoke or injury. This shows that my protection surpasses human imagination. The enemy desire destruction, but I display total victory, and this victory magnifies my name. Likewise, in your life, when you endure storms, all who witness will recognize that it is not by your strength, but by the omnipotent hand that covers you. My child, a reversal is near. What you thought lost will be restored. What seemed closed will open to new opportunities. Those who once despised you will witness your elevation, and you will become living proof that nothing can thwart God's plan. This is not an abstract comfort, but a reality that will come to pass. For I have spoken, and my word never returns void. Therefore, do not let fear arise when the storm surges. Do not be dismayed when darkness strikes more fiercely. When the enemy thrashes violently, it signals that its time is ending. When the night is darkest, it is because dawn is near. You need only hold steadfast, stand firm in faith, and know that my protection is never lacking. You will not merely emerge from the trial, you will emerge victorious, with new authority, with resounding testimony. Remember, you are living proof that darkness can never overcome the light. You are affirmation that what men intend for harm will be transformed for good in my plan. You are witness to the truth that divine protection does not only preserve you, but positions you for glory. And when others see you, they will see me, the faithful one, the Almighty, who never abandons his people. When I call you into the season of fruit-bearing, the first thing I wish to do is not to grant external resources, but to expand your inner heart. For the first fruit does not grow from land or wealth, but from a transformed soul. If your heart is narrow and selfish, Even the greatest treasure cannot produce lasting benefit. But if your heart is open, filled with love, forgiveness, and generosity, even the smallest things you possess will become seeds that multiply abundantly. Remember the image of the 5 loaves and 2 fish in the hands of a young boy, John 6:9-13. To human eyes, it seemed insufficient for the thousands who were hungry. Yet, when offered, in my hands, it became a miracle that fed the entire multitude. The lesson here is not only about multiplication, but about a heart willing to give. You may think that what you have is insignificant, yet it is precisely your humility and readiness to offer that will unlock the flow of miracles. My child, I want you to understand that the new season is not like the old season. The old season may have been one of endurance, of patience, of waiting quietly. But the new season is a season of action, of sowing and reaping, of expanded vision. What I give you today is not only comfort, but commissioning. If you only seek to hold on to what you have, you will miss the opportunity to become a channel of grace for many. This expansion requires not only effort but also faith. For stepping into new territory always involves leaving the familiar. Remember Abraham. When I said to him, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you." Genesis 1:2-1. He did not know exactly where he was going, yet he obeyed. Through that obedience, he became the father of many nations. That faith was not based on what the eyes could see, but on absolute trust in my promises. Likewise, you will be called to do things beyond your understanding. You may feel inadequate, lacking resources, lacking connections, yet it is precisely in that lack that my power will be revealed. I do not require you to have everything. I only require your willingness to obey. When you take one step, I will open the path for the next. When you reach out, I will fill your hands. And when you courageously step onto new ground, I will make it your inheritance. My child, you need to know that expansion does not occur only externally, but also within the mind. Many cannot enter into blessing because they retain a small-minded perspective. They limit their lives to a few personal needs, a few familiar relationships, a few narrow dreams. But I call you to think big, to look far, to dream the dreams of my kingdom. Do not let fear or past experiences hold you back. Trust that I can do immeasurably more than you ask or imagine. Ephesians 3:20. As you enlarge your heart and vision, you will face new challenges. The enemy will not remain idle when it sees you advancing into the promised land. It will sow doubt, create obstacles, and even present false doors to distract you. But stand firm, for I am the one who opens the way. No force can close a door that I have opened, and no lie can erase the promise I have spoken. Remember the Israelites as they entered Canaan. They faced the fortified city of Jericho and mighty nations, yet I gave them victory not through military might, but through obedience. As they marched around the city, as they shouted, according to my command, the walls collapsed. Joshua 6. This demonstrates that expansion does not come from human strategy, but from divine obedience. Likewise, when you choose to follow my voice, the walls that seem insurmountable in your life will collapse automatically. Know that the expansion I grant you is not only for you, but for others. I desire your life to become a river flowing outward, refreshing dry lands. I desire your testimony to be a guiding light for the lost, I desire your journey to demonstrate that my power and love remain alive today. Therefore, do not keep blessings to yourself. Share. Sow generously, for whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows generously will also reap generously. 2 Corinthians 9:6. Begin with small steps, a word of encouragement, an act of kindness, an open heart. Then I will expand your influence step by step. Do not despise small beginnings, for I can transform them into the foundation for greatness. Like the smallest mustard seed, it grows into a large tree where birds find their nests. Matthew 1:3-1:32. My child, I speak to you today. Prepare your soul for expansion. Free your heart from bitterness, for bitterness withers spiritual soil. Cast off comparison, for it narrows vision. Let go of worry, for it binds your hands. Keep your heart light, able to embrace many people, many dreams, many plans from heaven. The new season has arrived. Do not stand aside in fear. Do not hesitate because of the past. Do not doubt because of lack. Dare to step forward, and you will see me grant strength. Dare to sow, and you will witness the harvest. Dare to expand your heart, and you will become a channel of blessing for many. The harvest brings joy, but it also places a new responsibility upon your shoulders. As fruit appears, as expansion unfolds, your soul may be tempted toward pride. You may look at your achievements and think they are by your own strength. But I remind you, every good and perfect gift is from above. James 1:17. Nothing in your hands comes apart from grace. Therefore, the season of fruit is not a time to glorify yourself, but to magnify my name. Look at Joseph, son of Jacob. After years of betrayal and imprisonment, he was finally elevated to governor of Egypt. Yet before his brothers, he harbored no hatred, nor did he boast. He said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Genesis 5:0-20. This is the image of a soul who understands that the fruit it bears is not for revenge or display, but to serve, to save, to fulfill a divine plan. My child, I want you to carry the same heart. When I expand your territory and pour out abundant blessings, do not keep them to yourself. Think of those who are hungry, not only materially, but also spiritually. Use what I give to become instruments of love and hope. When you share, the flow of blessing will never cease, but when you close off, the flow will slowly dry up. Prepare also for the special challenges of the season of abundance. In adversity, the enemy sows doubt. In seasons of blessing, it sows complacency. It whispers that you have enough, that you have arrived, that you need me less than before. But I remind you precisely in abundance. You must remain humble. The Israelites forgot me when they were full, when fields were fertile, when houses were full. Deuteronomy 8:10-14. And such forgetfulness led them to fall. Therefore, you must remember the source of all blessing and continue living in total dependence on me. Do not forget that the season of fruit is also a time to become a stronger witness. Others may hear many words, but it is your fruitful life that becomes the living book they read every day. When they see patience transformed into fruit, faithfulness producing success, sacrifice yielding harvest, they will recognize that faith is never in vain. That living testimony is far more powerful than 1,000 empty promises. Remember, your mission is not merely to have a fulfilled life, but to be a light in the world. Jesus said, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Matthew 5:1-6. In the season of fruit, every act of sharing, every word of encouragement, every faithful task becomes a ray of light piercing the darkness. I also want you to remember one important thing. Fruit does not remain long without care. Just as a fruitful tree must be pruned to continue producing, your soul must be refined even in times of abundance. I may remove some things that cause you pain, not to take away, but to enable you to bear more fruit. John 1:5-2. Do not be dismayed when I continue to refine you, for the refining never ceases until your soul reaches full maturity. My child, the harvest also carries a communal dimension. A field of golden grain cannot be reaped by one person alone. It requires a team of workers. Therefore, I invite you to collaborate with your brothers and sisters. Do not think of yourself as the center, but work together, harvest together, so that the joy may be complete. As Paul wrote, I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase. 1 Corinthians 3:6. No one can accomplish everything alone. Yet when each person fulfills their part, the whole body is built up in love. You must also understand that spiritual fruit is not measured by material gain, but by the transformation of the heart, a soul finding hope, a heart being healed, a family restored. This is the true harvest. Do not let the world deceive you into believing that only when you possess wealth, status, or fame can you be considered successful. Success in my kingdom is measured by love sown, faith awakened, and life renewed. I want to give you this message: guard your heart in every season, both in adversity and in blessing. Do not let the joy of the harvest make you forget the one who gives the harvest. Do not allow success to distract you from your eternal purpose. Remember that all is temporary, but what remains forever is love and faith. Live so that every fruit in your life becomes a song of praise to me, the one who called you before the foundation of the world. Remember, every journey on earth is only a part of the grand plan I have set in motion. As you have passed through seasons of trial, witnessed preparation, experienced transformation, encountered companionship, and enjoyed fruitfulness, now you stand at a new threshold, the threshold of completeness. This is not the end, but a transition from the temporary to eternal glory. Understand that this journey does not end in current success, but moves toward the ultimate goal: unity with me in eternity. Life on earth is like a river flowing continuously. There are rapids, calm stretches, fertile plains, and deep, challenging falls. Yet wherever it flows, the river ultimately reaches the vast sea. Your life is the same every stage, from suffering to blessing, is leading you to me, the beginning and the end of all things. Therefore, do not focus solely on the present and assume it is all there is. Ahead lies an unseen glory, a life beyond all understanding, which I have prepared for those who love me. Remember the words of Jesus: I am going to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you may be also. John 1:4-3. This is the ultimate destination I want you to aim for. All earthly achievements, all the fruits you have harvested, are only a shadow guiding you toward eternity. Do not let your heart cling to the fleeting, but lift your eyes toward undying hope. As you enter this phase, you must learn vigilance. The world may lull you into complacency, into a sense of enough. Yet I say this is the time to keep the fire of faith burning stronger than ever. Remember the parable of the 10 virgins, Matthew 25:5, were wise. 5 were foolish. The wise kept their lamps filled with oil, ready for the bridegroom's arrival. The foolish neglected their lamps, letting them run dry, and were left outside the wedding feast. This parable is a warning to you. Do not let the flame of your faith run dry, but continually replenish it through prayer, scripture, and daily obedience. My child, I do not call you only to walk halfway. I do not choose you merely to stand firm for a time. I choose you to persevere until the end. As the Apostle Paul wrote, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Henceforth, there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, 2 Timothy 4:7-8. This is the ultimate goal of the journey of faith, to hold on to belief until the last moment, to receive the crown of eternal life. You must also understand that this path is not for you alone, but for you to become an example, to guide those who follow, the younger generation, souls still immature in faith. I need to see someone who has gone before, who has been faithful, who has weathered storms yet kept steadfast. Your life will become testimony, encouragement for them to endure. As Hebrews 12:1 says, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us, and let us run with patience the race set before us. You are part of that cloud of witnesses for others. Remember that you do not run this race alone. The Holy Spirit is always with you to uphold, to remind, to renew when you are weary. Turn to me when confused. Listen to the gentle prompting within when you fall. Rise immediately, for grace is abundant to restore you. The strength to endure to the end does not lie in your will alone, but in your intimate communion with me every day. Keep your heart focused on eternal hope, for that hope will preserve your soul from collapse. Remember the promise in Revelation 2:1-4, God shall wipe away every tear from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things have passed away. This is where I am leading you, a place without tears, without sorrow, only eternal joy and light. If you know where you are headed, you will not be discouraged by temporary trials, for the destination far exceeds the small challenges along the way. Rise and step forward with hope. See every remaining day as an opportunity to glorify me, to sow seeds of love, to live a fruitful life. In doing so, you are not only preparing yourself, but also contributing to the expansion of my kingdom on earth. And when the appointed time comes, you will step through the threshold of the temporary life into the eternal glory I have prepared. My beloved child, today I desire to lead you into the practice of daily preparation, so that you not only recognize the day that is coming, but also live each hour and each moment in readiness. I do not want you to falter at the threshold. I want that when the final trumpet sounds, you will stand firm with your lamp burning brightly, your garments washed clean, and your heart anchored in love and holiness. The first aspect of preparation is to guard your inner life. Your heart is like a spring, from which all streams of your life flow. If the spring becomes contaminated, the entire river becomes murky. The world constantly seeks to steal this purity through fleeting pleasures, suffocating worries, or the noise of ambition. But I tell you, let my word become a protective fence around you. Do not merely read it and let it fall away. Let it take root deeply within, transforming your thoughts, decisions, and actions. As the psalmist writes, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." Psalm 119:105. Without this light, you will stumble. Yet when my word burns within your soul, you will walk through darkness without fear. Next, you must maintain the breath of the soul, prayer. Do not treat prayer as a mere repetitive ritual, but see it as the lifeblood, the direct connection between you and me. Just as the body needs air to survive, your soul needs prayer to stand firm. In prayer, you do not only bring your needs, but you open your heart to receive comfort, strength, and guidance. Remember Paul's exhortation, pray without ceasing. 1 Thessalonians 5:1-7. This means that at any time, in any place, you may converse with me. A sigh, a small song, a silent cry within your heart. All these rise as a fragrance before my throne and keep the lamp of faith within you from ever going out. However, prayer and the Word of God become truly alive only when joined with obedience. A life of preparation cannot rest solely on knowledge or emotion. It must be expressed through concrete actions. You may read much and pray much, but if you do not act, it is like gazing into a mirror and then forgetting your own reflection. Jesus said, "Not everyone who says to me, 'Lord, Lord,' shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father in heaven." Matthew 7:2-1. Obedience is not theoretical. It is how you treat others, how you resist temptation, and how you choose righteousness even when the path is difficult. Never underestimate faithfulness in small matters. Many think only grand deeds have value, but in my eyes, a sincere word of forgiveness, an encouraging smile, or a quiet sacrifice is as precious as an offering on the altar. Each small act is a brick building, the spiritual temple within your heart, and on the final day, all that you have done for my name, however humble, will shine like jewels in the eternal crown. You must also learn patience and steadfastness in trials. The closer you approach the finish line, the more the enemy strives to discourage you. Temptations grow stronger, doubts resound louder. Yet I remind you, he who endures to the end shall be saved. Matthew 2:4-1-3. Endurance does not mean passive suffering. It is the strength to stand firm, to trust that even in the midst of storms, my hand holds you. Trials are not to destroy you, but to refine you into pure gold through fire. Remember, you cannot walk alone. Preparation always requires the community of fellow believers. When you are weak, they lift you. When they fall, you support them. This is the meaning of fellowship. No one is an island. Recall the scripture, "Do not forsake assembling together, as is the habit of some, but encourage one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching." Hebrews 1:0-5. In this connection, your light shines brighter, and your steps grow steadier. Do not forget another crucial point. Learn to let go of the fleeting things of the world. Wealth, fame, status all are dust compared to the eternal inheritance awaiting you. They may bring temporary joy, but cannot save the soul. Jesus said, "Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven." Matthew 6:1-9-20. Live as a pilgrim, grateful for earthly blessings, yet holding on to none of them. Above all, love is the ultimate seal of preparation. When the scribes asked which commandment is the greatest, Jesus answered, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself." Matthew 2:2-3-7-39. If you live in love, you are no longer bound by rules or forms, for love is the fulfillment of the law. Every act of forgiveness, every service, every decision of sacrifice must flow from love. Do not fear the unknown. The final day of the earthly journey is not darkness, but a radiant dawn. If you live in preparation, death is no longer a fearful abyss, but a doorway to eternal life. Paul once exclaimed, "For to me, to live is Christ, and to die is gain." Philippians 1:2-1. When you embrace this truth, every day on earth overflows with hope, and you walk with peace, knowing that ahead lies only eternal glory. Therefore, each day, remind yourself, today I will live in readiness. Be ready to obey, to forgive, to love, to endure, and to rejoice. Preparation is not a momentary act, but a rhythm of life. When you persist in this rhythm, the final day will not catch you by surprise, for you have already walked in this light for a long time. And remember, you do not prepare alone. I am the vine, and you are the branch. When you abide in me, you will bear much fruit, and it is my Holy Spirit who will complete your preparation. You only need to remain in me. Trust in me, and allow me to refine your soul. When the angelic trumpet sounds, when the heavens open, you will not tremble in fear, but will rejoice in triumph. For you know that your readiness does not come from your own strength, but from my grace and eternal faithfulness. My child, when you have learned to prepare and to live in readiness, the final part of the journey is eternal hope, unfading glory, and the reward I have promised to those who remain faithful to the end. This is not a temporary reward, like human victories, but an imperishable crown, kept in my hand from before the foundation of the world. Remember that every faithful step you take is never in vain. Every tear you shed, every silent prayer, every quiet sacrifice is recorded in my book. You may think these things are small and unseen, but heaven never forgets. On the final day, they will shine like precious jewels, arranged into a crown of glory for you. Paul affirmed, "Henceforth there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who love his." Appearing 2 Timothy 4:8. Do you see? This promise is not for one alone, but for all who remain steadfast in love and faith. On that day, I will wipe every tear from your eyes. There will be no more suffering, no more sickness, no more tears. Every burden of the temporary life will fall from your shoulders, and you will step into perfect freedom in me. You will behold glory beyond what earthly eyes can perceive. You will hear the angelic chorus. See the new heavens and new earth ablaze with light, and I will dwell among my people. This is what Revelation declares. Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself will be with them. Revelation 2:1-3. This is the ultimate destination of every journey, where love is complete and unity is restored. I want you to understand that the reward does not wait only in the future. Even today, you have begun to taste it. Each act of obedience allows you to experience a piece of heaven. Each time you forgive, you step into true freedom. Each act of giving stores treasures in heaven. These experiences are the seeds of eternal glory, sown within your heart, destined to bloom brilliantly on the final day. Do not think that eternal glory is reserved only for the exalted saints. Even the most ordinary people, if faithful and walking in love, will receive the same reward. Look to those who went before Abraham, who dared to trust in the barren desert, Joseph, who remained faithful despite imprisonment, Daniel, who would not bow to earthly powers, and countless other witnesses. They were human, with weaknesses like yours. Yet through trust in me, they became witnesses of glory. You too are called to stand among them. On the day of triumph, I will call you by name. That call will echo like a hymn of victory. Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your Lord. Matthew 2:5-3. You will no longer hear criticism or doubt, but the affirmation from my lips. This is the highest honor, the greatest reward any soul can receive. My child, let this hope be your daily motivation. When challenges seem overwhelming, remember that one day they will vanish like morning dew. When loneliness presses upon you, remember the cloud of witnesses surrounds you, cheering you to run the race with endurance. When justice seems distant, remember that the one who holds the scales is coming, and he will judge righteously. No sacrifice of yours is in vain, for all contribute to eternal glory. I know there are days when you feel small amidst the flow of life, but remember that even a small precious gem can reflect the sunlight. Your life, though ordinary, can reflect my glory if you remain steadfast. I do not demand that you become a hero in the eyes of the world. I only require faithfulness in the tasks assigned, and it is this faithfulness that will be exchanged for a crown when I come. Lift your eyes forward. What awaits you surpasses all that your mind can conceive. As Paul wrote, "Eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor has it entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for those who love him." 1 Corinthians 2:9. Therefore, do not allow the fears of the present to overshadow the light of the future. Let the hope of heaven nourish you each day, so that you walk steadily, without faltering, until the race is complete. And I speak to you once more, hold fast to your faith. Live in love, and endure to the end. For when you conclude your earthly journey, a new beginning will unfold, the beginning of an immortal life in my glorious presence. On that day, you will no longer call to me from afar, but will see my face, hear my voice, and dwell with me forever. Be steadfast. Do not retreat. With each day you walk, you draw closer to that moment, the moment when heaven bursts forth in light, and you are embraced within my eternal arms. Thank you for listening to today's message. Please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that together we may receive the words of life, build a steadfast faith, and walk in the boundless love of God. Amen.